Welcome, everybody. My name's Dr. Dale Rickett, and I'm the head of conference for the Green Tech Festival, taking place on the 17th of June in Berlin. And it's my pleasure today to welcome Steffen Szeidl, who's the CEO from Drees and Sommer, and we're going to be talking about the sustainability of the construction industry for his session, which is called Urban Sustainability, Smart Efficient Buildings, Design and Infrastructure. Thanks so much for getting involved and being a part of our Meet the Speaker series today, Steffen. What do you
Hello,
hope to bring? Yes, hello. What do you hope to bring to the table in terms of a message around sustainability in construction?
Yeah, if I look in our sector in real estate or in the construction sector, then we are a new sector in the Green Tech Festival. But if you look at what we are producing, you can see that everywhere we all live in that built world. And but if you look behind the scenes, we have a lot to do in sustainability. If we just look on some of these figures, then the construction sector is responsible for more or less 50% of the European resources. We generate more than 60% of the whole waste. And if you look on these figures, you feel it's time to change.
It's absolutely shocking. It's not a figure that people hear every day. There's so much focus goes on. We need to improve transport and the automobile industry, but actually, it's one of the hidden killers. What are the problems? What are the things holding back advances in sustainability for construction?
First of all, since 100 of years, we are still building brick on brick. Of course, it's not everywhere a brick, it's concrete, or even in the last decade, the wood came up. We have glass and other materials. But the way how we produce is still, we did it in the last 100 years. The industry went very well. We all earned money within that sector. And therefore, there was no push, no pressure, no need to change. There was not so much innovation than we have seen in other sectors. And now it's coming to a transformation even in our sector. We see that a lot of prop techs stepping in with new ideas. We see that even the return on investment, there's the feeling that a lot of things will change. We see that the society also has changed. There's upcoming demand for sustainable housing. There's new regulations coming up from the European Union, from the different regulations within the countries, and therefore we have to do more than we did in the past years.
It's interesting, actually. I've looking at your company, I feel you've actually had an advantage from the very start, because it's actually in your DNA and in your culture as a company to care about the environment. Could you say a bit about your founder and the beginnings of the company and how that's helped you be a market leader in sustainable building construction?
Yeah, we started, our two founders, Mr. Drees and Mr. Sommer. They founded in 1970. If you count right now, we have 50 years of our past, but that's we are not just looking behind, we're also looking in front. And I think this is what our founders did all the different years. And the special thing is that we as partners, we are still the owner of our company. Therefore, we have a long-term strategy. And we're thinking, what are the changes within our market or in the markets? What about our people? By the end of the day, what do we have? We have our know-how, and we have our colleagues. We started with thinking about cost consultancy, thinking about how to optimize buildings. Then we stepped in the 1990s into facility management, so how to operate buildings. Then we came over the financing, so real estate consultants in the beginning of 2000. That means to bring together construction and financing. Mm-hmm. And then in the early 20s, we started with sustainability. And we brought that together. So we are not green, we are blue. So we call it our blue way. That means we are bringing together the economical part together with ecology. And you don't have to decide, okay, do we have a high return on investment, or will we build a sustainable building? That both comes along. And that we call the blue way, and with a lot of external partners, we're going our way on this topic. And I think this is also seen by lots of our clients, that we are at the forefront on these themes. And we also have a look in other industries, how they manage these changes, and try to get it in the construction sector.
I think it's a really important point that is not so obvious, particularly to those of us who, we use buildings on a daily basis. We go to work, we live in houses, but actually, as those who create them, if you're the builders of the buildings and the people planning and constructing these buildings, is to have ownership when the building is no longer yours, as in to say, we create this as legacy, and that legacy needs to be positive. And just I guess to connect that onto another point, you mentioned about financial sustainability, and actually more and more, I think, I wonder whether you agree with me, we're seeing a trend where making the right decision sustainably is also the right decision financially, just because it comes back to efficiency.
Absolutely, I fully agree. I think we have often the thing that the owner of the building has a totally different strategy than the user, or even if we start developing, we do not know who will be the user of the future. We then have investors with for example, they are developers, and not each developer is thinking in a long-term strategy. They just want to invest less, want to sell it with the best price, and therefore they get their money out. But I think times are changing. Times have already changed, and the users, they ask for sustainable buildings. They ask for healthy buildings. And now you have to show them, you have to bring them on the table. We see that from the user, but we also see that from the side of regulations. Thinking about the new Green Deal and taxonomy coming out from the European Union, they get better credits if they are at the forefront of sustainability. And even if you look on a company, maybe the company produces something in life science or in automotive, they have to do something about ESG. And I told, they often ask, okay, we have to do something, but what is the right way? And the buildings, often they just need the buildings to produce their products, or they need an office building just to have their employees inside. But now they have to think, how do we get and how do we hire the best experts for our product? They want to have a nice surrounding. They need perfect laboratories. They need the newest production site. And I think this is now in mind by a lot of the different firms and companies. And we feel that they're thinking in a new way. Of course, we are talking about 10 or maybe now 20% of the different companies, but it's a growing demand, and times will change.
Yeah, it's interesting. You touched on one point which I find fascinating, and this is the idea about the link between sustainability, aesthetics, and health. So the fact that you're building a space, but you're building a space for people, and that has to be a healthy space, and that healthy space is related to sustainability. Often you can create built spaces and built environments that are conducive to human use and support the environment.
Yeah, and you have to go further than only the building. There's also the surrounding of the building. It doesn't matter if you're on a countryside or within a city. What about connections? Am I able to come by bus, by train? What about bicycle? What about where do I get lunch? How to deal with packaging or am I able to go to supermarket nearby? Where do I live? Do I have to drive for an hour to come into my office? So you have to bring all these things together. You have to think about connections. Glass fiber, 5G. And this is all outside the building. And then you're coming into the building. What do I need inside the building? What if you're talking, for example, office? Even in times of Corona or COVID-19, how to bring the people back in the office, coming out of the home office. I think we are all humans. We want together with humans, but we have also seen in the last months, we can also run large parts of the companies from the home office. But we are also missing a lot of things. So the offices in the future, they will change. They will change more sustainable. They are more or less meeting points, fireplaces to bring the people together. Then single offices just sit there and come to work and leave for work. Meeting points.
Yeah, it's really great. It makes me see as well, just talking to you, the answers that you've given, that we're existing in a connected world in terms of the internet and the way infrastructure is becoming more interconnected, but also the limits of that world are becoming completely, they've been melted and destroyed, if you know what I mean. So actually, I guess the role of a company like Drees and Sommer, you have to be working hand in hand with government. You have to be working hand in hand with city planners and space planners and designers and architects. And actually, this discussion has to be had together.
Yeah, I think you can't do that by your own. You need a lot of stake and shareholders, and I think that's also our past is also project management, bringing a lot of interests together, but also a lot of partners. And I think this has also changed. First of all, that there was the architect. But then a lot of other disciplines arrived, coming together. If I look on the newest, so my personal background is also architect. But if I look how much complexity we have to deal with for building, the newest thing is biology or chemical people. We have them also onboarded within our company. So we have now 15 of them on board with our EPEA. There, together with the founders of the Cradle to Cradle principle, we are working on sustainability not only in building. We are now we are going into detail, into the materials. So the Cradle to Cradle principle means that we have two cycles: the biological one and the technical one. And the technical one, of course, this is one which comes along with the engineer. We see, okay, there's steel and how to avoid that this is downcycled, how to use steel again. But if we are going then into biological cycle, that was far away from us, and now we are very happy. And this brings also something new on the table for all the other disciplines. If you have such competence on the table, and you're thinking a fully different way about buildings, if you look on the details of material. And I think this is, on the one hand, you have to deal with complexity, but on the other hand, you get a new perspective if you have new disciplines at the table.
Interesting. It's really interesting to talk to you today. Thanks so much, Stefan. I guess as a final question, I just ask, you're passionate to be part of the Green Tech Festival in Berlin. What do you hope to take away personally?
So I love to look outside the own industry or the sector where you're working all the day long. And even I'm also part of the Green Tech jury. What I've seen there that inspires me also to bring something new into our sector and into our company. And I'm really looking forward to meet a lot of different people personally or digital, to get new insights and going back in the office with new inspiring ideas we could bring to the world.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Steffen. It was a pleasure speaking to you today, and look forward to meeting you in person in Berlin.
Thank you, Dale, and really looking forward to meet you and all the others.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for listening. That was Steffen Szeidl, and he's the CEO from Drees and Sommer, and he'll be speaking as part of the Urban Sustainability, Smart Efficient Buildings, Design and Infrastructure session, which will be taking place on the 17th of June in Berlin. For more details, check out the comment section, and we'll put a comment to our website, and do log on, check out the rest of our schedule and our website, and we'll look forward to meeting you in Berlin as well. Have a lovely day. This is Dale Rickett for the Green Tech Festival. Look forward to seeing you in Berlin. Bye-bye.